YouTube, how's it going? Ram Jet Fan here with another episode, and today we're going to be talking about Quinnen Williams and what's going on with the contract negotiations, as well as some Twitter stuff that's going on. But before we get into that, hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, comment if you like what I'm talking about. If not, do it anyway. Every little bit goes a long way in helping my content get out to other Jets fans and just to help this channel grow. With that being said, let's get into it. As I said before, it's going to be talking about Quinnen Williams. We're supported by Adam Schefter for ESPN that both Quinnen's side and the Jets side aren't close on a contract extension and finding a number that works for both teams. Quinnen reportedly is looking for between $25 and $30 million a year. The Jets, I think, are probably looking for something a little less than that. And there's just a couple thoughts to this. To start off with the contract negotiations, obviously, Quinnen wants his money, understandably so. Last year was an all-pro type level. But before that, from 2019 to 2021, he had good years. You can even argue above average years, a little better than good years. But 2022 was really his only great year. In 2019, third overall pick. I think a lot of us were kind of expecting, him to hit the ground running. You saw all the production in college, albeit on the best team in the country with Alabama, and definitely the best defense in the country. I think that probably helped inflate his numbers a little bit. He could get a lot of one-on-ones, and there was a lot of concentration taken off him because he had to worry about so many other players. But his numbers look as followed. So in 2019, he only played in 13 games. He had 28 total tackles, 15 solo, 13 assists, only racked up 2.5 sacks, no forced fumbles, and 1 fumble return. I think after the 2019 season, a lot of us, including myself, were kind of thinking, yeah, we kind of should have gone pass rusher. Look at Josh Allen, pass rusher was picked up by the Jaguars with the 7th overall pick. But understandably, he was very young. I think he was only like 19 or 20 coming out. So there's a lot of room to grow, a lot of room to develop. And he was also on some really bad Jets teams that also didn't help his numbers and help his case, by any means. But fast forward a year, 2020, again, only played in 13 games, had 55 tackles, 32 solo, 23 assisted tackles. But his sacks jumped up to 7, more than double his sacks, and that was pretty impressive because, again, in 2020, that team was not very good. I'm pretty sure that was the outlier year with Adam Gase where they ended up winning 7 games, with 6 of them coming at the end of the season on the much weaker end of the schedule. But he also had 2 forced fumbles, no fumble recoveries. Much better year. Injuries at this point, you could have said, might have been a little bit of concern. Again, he missed 3 games for a second year in a row. So he had good numbers, had better production, more than double his production, and you can see that he was developing pretty well. But at the same time, you say, okay, it's a good year, but 3rd overall pick, you might want to see a little bit more. Again, being said, at this point, he was still extremely young, either anywhere from 20 or 21, whatever it was, and but you can see the development, but still, okay, maybe not worth that 3rd overall pick. So we're going to move forward to 2021. This time he played in 16 full games, had 53 tackles, 36 solo, 17 assists. Sacks went down a little bit, went down by 1, had 6 sacks, no forced fumbles, and no fumble returns. Again, it didn't look like he really progressed all that much. But it was also, new defensive scheme, new coaching, coordinators, the whole 9. Okay, cool. You know what? He still, he didn't really get worse. Sure, production, dropped minusculely, but you could argue he didn't get worse, and hopefully a new coaching staff, could help develop him even more going forward, especially having a defensive head coach in Robert Saleh at that point. So, okay, cool. We're looking forward to 2022. And 2022 is where he became an All-Pro, starting in 16 games, or playing in 16 games. 55 tackles, 35 solo, 22 assisted. And this is where his sacks doubled to 12 total sacks. As a defensive tackle is absolutely great. 2 forced fumbles and 1 fumble return. And we all remember that fumble return when we had that nasty stiff arm on Tyreek Hill that made ESPN highlights. Even won the Running Angry Award or whatever it is from Good Morning Football. Great year by Quinnen. And now he finished his 4th year. So you're looking at a contract extension. They picked up his 5th-year option. And Quinnen Williams wants to beg. Understandably so. That is the goal of every player in the league, to get as much money as they can. They have a short lifespan in the league. So, hey, you want to make your money. Understandably so. No grudges about that. And then you start to see the defensive tackle market get a little crazy. Deron Payne signs that massive extension. Dexter Lawrence, the guy from the Titans, Jeffrey Simmons get his massive extension. And then so all the dominoes are kind of falling, and now it's at Quinnen Williams. Right at this point, the market is pretty much set with, all the contract extensions that have been given out over the past month or so. And now that market value is looking anywhere from 23 to 25 million, 25.5 million. But like I said earlier, Quinnen is reportedly looking for a 25 to $30 million range, probably closer to that 30. He's probably looking to get up to the Aaron Donald type money, making 31 million, which is absolutely insane. Especially for a defensive tackle. When you're talking about just position, the positional value is not all that great. Like I said, just looking at position-wise, not player-wise. But, I think this last season, Quinnen really established himself as the best defensive tackle in football, not named Aaron Donald. And the contract extensions have been going on for a while now. Understandably, Quinn's getting a little frustrated, but he has to understand a couple of things. One, it's not prudent for the Jets to make a move at this second to extend him. Really, they can sit and wait a little bit. He's got 1 more year of contractual obligation to play for this team. And like I said before, the defensive tackle market, it's pretty much set. So it's not going anywhere. There aren't any more defensive tackles that are going to receive large extensions for big money. So it's not like the Jets are now in a race like they sort of were before. They're not in a race to kind of get a deal done before someone basically outbids them with another contract for another defensive tackle like Jeffrey Simmons or Deron Payne, Dexter Lawrence, whoever. So right now, since the market is set, the Jets are able to kind of just sit back and get everything sorted. Right now, obviously the big need for this offseason was to go out and get your quarterback, go out and get Aaron Rodgers, and they did that. So now that their roster is pretty much set, I'm sure there's going to be some a few more moves here and there, especially after June 1st. Now they need to get their money situation sorted. So now, again, it's going back to Aaron Rodgers and getting his contract situated to where you don't owe him $107 million next year, $101 million, whatever it is. And I think Quinnen kind of just needs to take a step back and understand that. Even if you play on the 5th-year option, or just play at the last season of his contract, you're still making about $10 million. And then if you can equal the production that you did last year, you're going to get that bag. You just are. I don't think the Jets are going to risk, franchise tagging multiple years or anything like that. I just don't think that's on the books for them right now or in the cards. So you're going to get paid either way. I think with a lot of these players, it's it's being the highest paid at your position. And this is one thing I don't understand about players, or especially Jets players, not necessarily in a money aspect, but kind of stirring up a little bit of drama, like Quinnen Williams did by taking off the Jets off his Twitter bio and all that stuff, and then tweeting defensive tackle for ... meaning not the Jets or whoever else. He doesn't know who he's playing for. Is these players start this drama at the worst time. So like last year with Elijah Moore, during a winning streak, the first Jets winning streak in God knows how long, he's complaining he's not getting the ball. Starts all this drama, requests a trade, goes about it the wrong way, curses out Michael Fleur, all this drama. And now this year with Quinnen Williams, our biggest offseason and God knows how long. We get Aaron Rodgers, we get our QB for the next 2-3 years, have a legitimate chance at a Super Bowl run. We bring in our draft class where Joe Douglas is wheeling and dealing, picking up players, releasing players, doing everything. The vibe is really good. And then he comes out with this and, like I said, takes the Jets off his Twitter bio and acts like he doesn't know who his team's going to be in 2023. And I don't know if this is his manager telling him to do it or if it's, other people encouraging him to do this, but I would just say you're not going about it the right way. You're really not. Look, you're going to get your money. Understand you're not going to get Aaron Donald money because Aaron Donald's Aaron Donald and no one's paying you $31 million a year. I personally think it's probably going to be around that $24-25.5 million range. So just understand that, and just understand that the general manager that you're dealing with, Joe Douglas, he doesn't blink. He doesn't. He's traded players before in the past. He's traded his starting quarterback to Sam Darnold. He's traded Jamal Adams. He's traded Elijah Moore, a very talented wide receiver. So he's not afraid to wait things out, and he's not afraid to wait to get the deal that he wants, that he thinks is best suited for this team as a whole. So again, at this point, to me, it kind of looks like he's earning that big baby nickname. Just relax, man. You're gonna get your money. And, I see people on Twitter, Facebook, whatever else saying, you have to pay this man now, have to pay him now. And you don't have to, for the reasons I stated earlier. The market is set. There's no other defensive tackles that are going to get these massive contracts or anything. The defensive tackle market is set, at least for the next year or two. They don't have to rush into anything. They're not betting against any other teams. It's not like he's a free agent betting against other teams. They're not betting against themselves to make sure they give them a better deal than some other team is giving their player. There's no reason. There's no reason to. Another thing too, Quinnen's first 3 years, you can say they were good. They were decent. They were good years, but you would expect more from your third overall pick. One great year of production, fantastic. It helped the team a lot. I would really want to see Quinnen, repeat that. I really would, because who knows? Maybe that was the defense last year being completely healthy for the most part allowed him to feast a little bit more. Let's see what happens this year. Are there injuries that happen? Knock on wood. Hopefully there's not. But is there going to be more adversity that causes your numbers to fluctuate? And then, are you going to be asking for the same amount of money. I highly doubt you're going to be willing to take less. I mean, this can turn into a messy situation really fast if you give him all this money and then next year, he drops back down to 7 sacks, no forced fumbles, all that stuff. It could get really messy really fast. So, I mean, look, I'm hoping Quinnen comes back. I mean, he's going to come back. The Jets going to get this done. And another thing, too, I kind of got in some arguments on Facebook with some people, saying they have to pay Quinnen now. I laid out the arguments that I laid out here. And they're saying, well, Quinnen, is the best defensive tackle not named Aaron Donald. That's true. Last year he proved for that season he was. But he has to prove it again. He really does. In my opinion, he has to. We all know what happened with the last one-year wonder at defensive tackle. We gave all this money to, and then just never showed up again. I don't think that's the Quinnen Williams. I don't think that's going to happen. Quinnen Williams, I think he has a much better work ethic, much better player, better athlete, much better individual, all that stuff. So look, I understand he wants to get this done now, but like I said earlier, what we need to focus on was getting Aaron Rodgers. We got Aaron Rodgers. Our roster set. So now we just have to do a little cap gymnastics, renegotiate some contracts. There's still going to be cuts. There's still going to be players that they bring in, maybe some players they trade for. There's a lot that has to happen to ensure the success of this year. And I really hope Quinnen Williams doesn't do this long Le'Veon Bell type holdout like he did with the Steelers. Look, man, the culture's changed around here. If you want to win, just come in, work hard. We're going to take care of you. I think Joe Douglas has shown that he's willing to do that. Robert Saleh being a player's coach, I know he's willing to make sure that happens. So look, just my advice to Quinnen Williams, don't start all this drama and acting like you don't know who you're going to be playing for in 2023, and don't leak all this stuff, man. Keep the vibes are good around One Jets Drive. Keep that going. Put your head down, work, have another dominant year, and then just you're going to get paid. You are going to get paid by the New York Jets, and that's just that. So that's all I got. But like I said earlier, like, share, subscribe. I will have a link in one of these corners. Just you can click on it and subscribe to my page. I'm also going to be posting a link to my last video besides this one. So go check that out. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. Like I said, let's help each other out in this Jets community. I love talking Jets. I love talking sports. Love talking football, especially with Jets fans. So until next time, talk to you later, and let's go Jets.